Yeah, hi, good evening to everyone. Yesterday we had discussed that Spring Security Basic Authentication, isn't it? And also we discussed that it is Spring Security and JDBC authentication, right? Two authentication we discussed. Today we can discuss about the Auth 2.0. Okay, Auth 2.0. Before that, please subscribe my channel, and if you like the content, and press on the bell icon, and don't miss it is never get that it is don't miss the updates when you are the press on the bell icon. Okay, let's get started. It is the Auth 2.0. This is the one of the famous authentication we are using. One of the famous authentication we are using by using the Auth 2.0. It is the creating that application by using the Auth 2.0. These one dependency you need to set up, like it is the Auth 2.0 client and Spring Security and Starter Web Security. These things, you need to add in your form.xml file, and when created that auth, if it is the I am creating the GitHub the authentication. GitHub authentication I am creating. For example, here let me I will tell you this one of the authentication. This is the one of the authentication by using the Auth 2.0. Let me here we have two authentication, right? One is the email and passwords. If you have the mail and password, you can log in there. If you don't have anything, continue with Google. Means without adding data, or without adding emails and passwords. Okay, it will access our web application by using the without adding data. They feel we have or don't want to show that my credentials with our third party services. That is the reason I am using the it's Auth 2.0. Okay, Auth 2.0 we can use that purpose only. And here for example, Auth 2.0 GitHub I am using. When you are logging the GitHub, inside the login and the settings, go settings and developer settings and Auth apps. Inside the Auth apps, create the app, and copy the client ID and client secrets. These things, client ID and client secret, these things you can store in application.property or application.yml file, like below. This like this, like in this I am created the application.yml file. That file creating is the Spring security auth 2 client registration GitHub client ID and client secret. Client ID I am pasting here, and client secrets I am pasting here. Okay, these settings will do in application.property or application.yml file. Okay, and create the REST controller with this method. Okay, for example, I am created here get mapping for that empty endpoints. For that empty endpoints, I am created. It is in empty endpoints I am created here, like okay. This is I am created here like get mapping at the rate get mapping inside that empty endpoint and public string. It is a return type is string. That's the reason I'm put here the string and welcome method. The welcome method will return the welcome to full stack guru. Full stack guru. Okay, it will return. It will return in the web browser. You can check there only and run the application and test it whether it is working or not. When you are that first time it is running, it will ask it like this. Ask it like this. You can continue this. Google, press on that Google. It will go your mail ID. In appropriate mail ID, you can select them. Okay, appropriate mail ID, you can select them. You can use like that only, right? And here basically in the git auth 2.0, the auth 2.0 what will do, auth 2.0 without adding our details, or without sharing our details with third party applications. That purpose you can use the Auth 2.0. It's the one of the famous authentication, right? This is one of the famous authentication they are using. That's the Auth 2.0. For example, I in the login purpose, just I am showing for that prototype purpose. I am created that client ID and client secret for it is github.com, right? In the github.com and login, inside the login, in setting and developer setting and author apps, created the application and created the both. If you want a different application, you can create in the, for example, Google authentication. You can go in the Firebase. Inside the Firebase, you can create the app and create the client ID and client secret. That's it. That's it. And this client ID, client secrets, you can store in the application.property or application.yml file like this you can store inside that, like this you can store, and you can create that REST endpoint with appropriate methods to it bind with this one, right? Like I created one REST controller here, the REST controller with get mapping, and I created the one method, welcome method. Inside the method welcome method, I'm returning the welcome to full stack role. That's it. This is the Auth 2.0 is the one of the famous, right? Let me check here. Auth 2.0. Auth 2.0. Right. Here, Auth 2.0, what is that? It is that, right? It's a security standard that allows to user to grant a third-party application to access the data in other applications. Means if the user or client they are not interested to share their credentials. That purpose you can use. Auth 2.0 uses to token-based authentication mechanism, right? It is the token-based authentication mechanism is using to allow the users to data share without sharing their credentials with third-party application. Instead of users their credentials with authorization server, which issues the token to the client, right? This is the benefit of that. What? It is the benefit of that. It is the Auth 2.0 is allows to the user to grant a limited access to their private resource without sharing their identity or passwords or without sharing their personal belongings. It's a industry standards to authorization to across the major tech companies, social media applications they are using, or finance application also they are using. And what is the feature? The feature is the encrypted token transient they are using. It has token expiration. It is distinguished to more interoperable between the sites and devices. It is interoperable. It is not dependent with sites and devices, right? The grant types they have. Grant types is the Auth 2.0 benefits. The three primary grant types they have, right? One is the authorization code and client credentials and device code. These are things. Authorization code, the user to server side application and uses the application that have the API access or not, and that is the device lack of browser, they have limitation, right? And also you can open that. Another thing is the Auth 2.0. Auth 2.0 open like this. This one also it is a access token based application there, right? And resource owner, client, and authorizations server these things. And yeah, this is how does work. Auth 2.0 means here the client request authorization from the authorization server and supply the client ID and secret to identification. If you want that how can work, here what I discuss here storing the client ID secret, client secret, right? By using the client ID and client secrets, it can identify the authorization server. Also provide the scope of the endpoint URI. The endpoint URI I am using created that endpoint. It's the welcome method. This welcome method has a empty endpoint, right? Empty endpoints. Also, Server authentication the client and verify the request scope as per requirement. It will verify, and resource owners to interact with authorization servers grant access here, right? And here the types of the authentication I told you, right? Just now discussed in the authentication code and implicit these things. Okay, these things they have. Okay. Anything I missed here? This one, right? Uh, yeah, that's it. I think there is no. It's a very flexible way, right? It's very flexible to SSL socket. It will layer to data between web server and browser. Remain to save the access the token, right? That I was explained here. And here the Auth 2.0 release the SSL, which is used to encrypt the cryptography industry protocol. They are using cryptography industry protocol for the SSL encryption purpose. Here also we have the disadvantage, right? If you use adding more extensible at the end of the specification, it will produce a wide range of the non-interoperable implementation, which means you have to write a separate piece of the code for the like Facebook or Google like that. Okay, separate Facebook or separate code of the piece you can write them. If you have favorite sites to connect with the central hub of the central account is hacked, if it is the central account is hacked, the everything is hacked. Okay, that some of the disadvantage is also there, but is the main advantage is the without sharing their credentials, you can log in the third party application. Okay, that's today class. Today class what we have discussed that Auth 2.0. Auth 2.0 means it is the authentication without adding or without sharing their personal belongings, and these many dependencies you can add is Auth 2.0, client and string starter security and starter web. Okay, if you the in as per my knowledge, I am using the GitHub. When GitHub, you can log in that GitHub and the settings go inside the settings and developer settings, auth apps. Inside the auth apps, create the one application. If it is created on application, it is showing the client ID and secret, client secret. These things you can store in application.property or application.yml file like this. You can store like this. Okay, and create one rest endpoints. Okay, and this rest endpoint and test it whether it is coming or not. That's it today class. Tomorrow class we can discuss the Spring Boot with JWT. We can discuss tomorrow class. Today class I discussed with Auth 2.0. Auth 2.0 is the simplest way to authenticate our web application without sharing their belongings, personal belongings. That's it today class. If you enjoy this video, don't forget to like, share and subscribe to my channel, and it really helps me grow and bring more awesome content for you. Hit that bell icon so you never miss an update. Let me know your thoughts in the below comment. I love hearing from you, and thank you for your support. Bye bye. I am signing off now.